Yes, sir.
Okay, so welcome to the this third session of the day one. In this session, we are going to explore firstly the loops, that is for loop, how to write for loop, or to while loop, and then after that we'll start with the container data types like list, set, tuple, and dictionary. And if the time permits, we'll again see the function again, how to write the functions in Python and how to call that function. Okay, so we'll see. Actually, this is a very limited time, and we have to actually take the very large syllabus here. Okay, so that's why I'm making some rush. Okay, so meanwhile, actually, if you think that if you're not understood any point, just stop me, and I will be giving you that expression. So Python supports, the next point is conditional expression. So conditional expression is very similar like your question mark and colon in your C language. So it is a one line statement, one line decision control structure. So Python supports this decision conditional expression also. But how it writes, the actually syntax is very simple. Firstly, we put the expression, we will put the expression, and we'll put if, and then conditional expression, and then else, and then expression 2. Now how it executes, it will execute depend on the conditional expression. If the conditional expression or if the condition is true, then the expression 1 get execute. And if the condition, the middle one condition is false, then it will execute the expression 2. Okay, you can think this like English language statement, just like status is equal to minor if age is less than 18, otherwise the status is equal to adult. So actually in English language also we actually talk in the same manner. So understanding is a very simple one. Status equal to minor if age is less than 18, otherwise the status is equal to adult. Very simple one. So but you will use this conditional expression only when if there is a simple statements are there, or only one statements in a if else statement. Okay, depending on condition, you want to execute either one statement or either second statement, then only this conditional expression will help you. But suppose if 2 or 3 statements are there for the if, and 3 or 4 statement for the else, then you cannot use this conditional expression. So you can say that it is a very small format of the if else statement. So here one example is given, age is equal to input, enter your age. So if you have entered the age as suppose 30 or 20, okay, 20, then it will first check your age. If age is less than 18, then the minor is assigned to status. Otherwise, if the age is greater than 18, then the adult is assigned to status. Okay, so here I'm inputting 20, so 20 less than 18 condition false, so adult will assign to the status. Okay, this is very important regarding to the data processing again. So there we have to put the there the some flag there. Okay, depending on the age, suppose we have to put the flag, then that flag can be initiated by using the conditional statement. Okay. The second example is again, if temp is less than 28, then the message is normal, otherwise the message is hot. Okay, so similar kind of the actually statement we can use using the conditional expression. Very simple one, only use if and else, but before if there is a true part, after if there is a condition, after else there is a false part. Okay, just have to remember this. So here some programs are there. The program is suppose any integer is input through the keyboard, write a program whether it is a odd number or an even number. It is odd number or even number. So you can use this modulo operator, num modulo 2 equal to 0, then it is even number. If num modulo 2 equal to 1, then it is odd number. Okay, so simple program you can execute by using this conditional statement. And here again, write a program to find out the area of circle. Yeah, simple programs. Now without waiting for, because we have already studied this if and else. Okay, there are different formats of if else. Only if else, or if else if. Okay, if else if, it is called if. But suppose if we want to execute the sum statement repeatedly, then that time we are using the loop control structure. Okay, loop control structure. So first loop we will see as a while loop. Second one, for loop. While loop is same as that of the loop you have used in the previous languages, C++. In front of while we are putting condition. If the condition is true, then the statement inside that block get executed. Very simple execution. While is used to repeatedly execute the instruction as long as the condition is true. If the condition is true, statement is repeatedly execute until the condition is true, and once that condition become false, it will go outside that particular loop. Okay, very simple. This is the syntax of while loop, using the while loop: while condition, statement 1, statement 2. But in actually Python, we can associate the else with the while loop also. Okay, else with the while loop. Okay, so what is the use of this else? We will discuss here. So if the while condition is true, execute the statement. While condition is true, execute the statement. Repeatedly the statement get executed. But suppose meanwhile, while executing the statement, if the condition become false, then it will execute the else part. If the condition is false, then it will execute the else part. So it means that upon this, when this while loop is false, the last statement that is get executed as a else statement. The last statement gets executed as a else statement. So you can see that what are the cleanup if you want to do, then all the cleanup you are doing in else part. So if you are using some resource here, after executing your program or after using that resource, suppose you want to free that resource, so you can free that resource in a else part. Okay, so use it in a while loop and free in a else part, like that. So when the else get executed, when the condition is false, then only the else get executed. But suppose meanwhile in a statement, suppose the condition is not true, condition is true, but meanwhile in a statement you have written the break statement. So and if that particular break is executed, if the break is executed, then else is not executed. Else is only execute after the condition is false. If the condition is false, then else is executed. But meanwhile in the while statement, if you have put the statement like if this condition is true, second condition, if this condition is true, then execute break. So break, what the break statement is doing, the break will actually take your program, your loop control out of the loop. But it is an abnormal termination. It's called as an abnormal termination. So in case of abnormal termination, actually else is not get executed. This is the thing that has to be remembered to you. Getting this? So else block is optional here. Okay, because we have seen the first syntax, while we can only use while loop. Writing the else is not compulsory. If it is present, then it is executed when the condition becomes false or condition becomes false. So if the while loop is terminated abruptly using the break statement, then else block is not executed. This is a very important statement regarding to the interview point of view for your fresher. So that's why this has to be mentioned to your student also. We'll do some programs for using while loop. So here a equal to 1, variable a1, and we put a less than or equal to 10, and we're putting a. We are printing a, and in front of printf statement, actually I'm giving comma, and the second argument I'm giving as an end statement. Okay, so what is this end? The end argument represent that by default the end is /n. By default end is /n. So it means that if you are not giving this end, if you are not giving the end, then by default it is considered as a /n. /n represent the new line character. So after printing this a, every time the /n get inserted, you can see here it will print output in terms of 1 to 10 only, but every times after 1 /n get inserted, after 2 /n get inserted. But suppose if you want to print this line in a horizontal one, so you can define here the one of the argument as a suppose space. Okay, I'm overriding that by default argument as a space now. So you do not use the default argument as a slash, use it as a space. So I'm running this and you will get the output in a horizontal manner. Okay, you will get output in a horizontal 1 2 3 4. So after 1 the space get printed, after 2 space get printed, like that. Getting this? So in this way I can design my program to use a loop, condition and the statement, condition and the statement. Okay. Now here one program is given which is having the else is associated with it. So here now a is equal to 1, a less than or equal to 10. So 10 times this loop get executed because a is equal to a plus 1, and every time you are printing a. But when a becomes 11, okay, when a becomes 11, actually your loop is terminated. Okay, you can even print a here. You can even print a is equal to, and a is equal to a. So when I run this program, actually you can see here 1 to 10 is the output, and the last is else part get executed when a becomes 11. Okay, and we know that here else is only executed once only, else is executed only once. But when the loop this loop is terminated normally, but suppose for example if I doing this, if a equal to 5, then break. Now here in this case actually the else is not executed, the output is only 1 2 3 4 and 5, 1 2 3 4 and 5. So you can see here 1 2 3 4. Okay, when a is equal to 5, actually 5 is not there. When a becomes 5, it will execute break, and when the break get execute, else is not executes. This is the thing that has to be remembered. Else is execute when the condition become false. Next one is for loop. The for loop is not the same as that of your loop in you have seen in a C++. There is no I equal to 1, I less than or equal to. There is no initialization, there is no condition, there is no increment decrement. But instead of using this, actually this, if you have studied the Java, in a Java actually there is a modified version of for loop called as a for each loop. So this same as that of your for each loop. So for each value of this, iterate. For each value of this particular list, you have to iterate it. So that is the meaning of the for loop. So for loop is used to iterate over the elements of the sequence such as string, tuple or the list. The syntax is given as for var in list. Okay, so whatever the list you have given, the list might be a list, string or tuple or dictionary, anything. Okay, so it is a container. So this is what is this? This is a container. So every value, every variable in that particular container, this statement get executed for everyone. If the list contains the 5 numbers, so for every value of that particular list, 5 times this statement 1 and statement 2 get executed, and every time var is assigned to the that next number. So that is, for example, var is assigned to the first element of your list. Second time var is assigned with the second element of the list. Var is assigned with the third element of the list in the third iteration, like this. Okay, now as we have seen earlier, the else is associated with the while. Here the else is associated with the for loop also. So for var in list, statement 1, statement 2 get executed, else the statement 3 and statement 4 get executed. So similarly, if all the iteration, if you have done all the iteration, then at the last else part get executed. After completing the all iteration, else part get executed. But meanwhile, suppose if the one of the break statement is introduced in a for loop and you are not completed the all the iteration, then else is not executed, as we have already seen. So during each iteration, var is assigned to the next value from the list. Else block is optional, so you don't have to write down every time else block. So cleanup, if you want to do, then the else is compulsory, otherwise else is not compulsory. So if the else block is present, it is executed if loop is not terminated abruptly using the break statement. Yes, we have seen that. Now how to use for loop? How to use for loop? So for loop can be used by using this for var. Okay, what is this var? Var you can take it as any variable name. Okay, any identifier name you can put. For var, okay, you can use your name also. Okay, for var in. What is the list? The list I am given as a directly what hardcode list I am given here. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so this is my list I am given. So for every value of var, for every value in this particular list, var I am printing. So firstly var is assigned to 1, second time var is assigned to 2, third time var is assigned to 3, third time var is assigned to 4, like that. So when I run this program, I'm getting the output as 1 2 3 4 5 6 in a vertical manner. Why? In a one column only, because the /n is the end by default end. So but if I put the end is equal to space, then it is printed as a 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yes, getting this. Now instead of putting this list as a hardcore list here, directly I can provide the variable. I can provide the variable also, like lst is equal to, and this is the list, and I can use here lst. Okay, for var in lst, for var in lst. So it means that for every value of var in lst, repeat this statement. So firstly var is assigned to 1, second time var is assigned to 2, third time var is assigned to 3, like that. So here I'm getting the output as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so instead of list you can use the string also. So your for loop can be used to iterate over the string, so you can get individual character there. So first for var is assigned to g, the second time var is assigned to a, third time var is assigned to n, like that. So for every value of the character present in this string Ganesh, the var is assigned. So var is assigned to g first, then a, then n, then e. So like that. So we can perform some operation on an individual character also. Getting this? So are you getting this for loop? Yes, it is the same link. Google Colab link is the same link as I have shared in the last session. Okay, just copy paste. Okay. Okay, so have you got it? For loop, how to write down the for loop? So if you have any list or container type, then if you want to iterate over that container, then you can use this format, for var in that particular container. Okay, now next one is the range function. Range function is very important to generate the some sequence of the integers. Okay, so if you want to generate some sequence of integer, this range can be used in a several format. Like first format is range 10. If you are putting range 10 only, so it generates the number from 0 to 9. So 10 is not inclusive, 10 is the exclusive. Whatever the number you are giving, there is an end number that is exclusive. So it always start with 0 to 9 is the numbers. Okay, now 10 comma 20. Now 10 comma 20, 10 is the start number, 10 is the starting value. If two values are there in the range function, if there are two values, first one is start and second one is the end, but we know that end is not inclusive, it is exclusive. So it generates the number from 10 to 19. It generates the numbers from 10 to 19. Now next one is 10 comma 20 comma 2. If the third argument is also given, it is called as a step size. So it generates the numbers from 10 to 19 with the step of 2. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So these are the numbers of this function, range 10 comma 20 comma 2. Okay, so 20 comma 10 comma minus 2. Okay, so it generates the number from 20 to 11. So 10, actually it is a minus step is given. Minus step means you have to iterate in a reverse manner. Okay, reverse manner. So firstly 20 is there, so 20 is inclusive, 10 is not inclusive, 10 is exclusive. So 20 minus 2, so 18. First 20, then 18, then 16, then 14, then 12, and then now 10 is not inclusive because this second one is not inclusive. So 20 to 11 in the steps of the 2. So reverse indexing also we can do. So range is equal to, in general, actually the syntax is range start, stop, and step size. Start, stop, and step size. So produce the sequence of integer from start, which is inclusive, stop, which is exclusive by the given step. So some examples is given. First one, for I in the range of 1 comma 10, if I'm doing 1 comma 10, so 1 to 9 get printed. 1 to 9 is the output. Now if I'm doing 1 comma 10 comma 2, so what happen here? The step size is 2. So all the even numbers from 1 to 10 get printed, not even odd numbers. 1 3 5 7 9, 1 3 5 7 9. Okay. Now reverse, in a reverse manner, if I want to iterate, then 10 comma 1 comma minus 1. So 10 is the start, 1 is not inclusive, so up to 2, 10 to 2 iterate, but every time it is decrementing by 1. So the output is 10 9 10 9 8, like that, up to 2. 10 to 2, 10 to 2 is the output, 10 to 2 is the output. Okay, so you just have to actually remember this function, remember the syntax of the function. Range function, start comma stop comma step size. So name equal to Python. For ch in name, print ch. Okay, so whatever the name is contained, so you are iterating over the list, you are iterating over the string here. So python is the output. There is one list is there. Now you can iterate over the list, but you can see here, what is the list? List contains the heterogeneous data items. So some items can be of another type, and some items can be of the different types. Like this 10 is the integer type, 34 is the integer, 5 is the integer, 6 is integer, life is the str, and 45.8 is the float value. So you can see here, if I iterate over this particular list and if I print the type of var, every time the type of var get changes. First time type of var is int, second type int, fourth time int, fifth time int, fourth time int, for fifth time it is str, and the sixth time it is float. So var is get, the type of the var get changes according to the data. Whatever the data is there in your list, it get changes according to it. Okay, so this is some number programs. Write a program to print cube of numbers. Okay, cube of numbers from 1 to 10. All the numbers from all the 1 to 10, you have to print the cube. So where double star 3, so you are getting the cube of all the numbers from 1 to 10. So 1 to 10, these numbers you want, so that's why you are doing 1 comma 11, 1 comma 11. 11 is not inclusive. Write a program to print sum of first 10 natural numbers. First 10 natural numbers, 1 comma 11 is the range. Okay, and every time sum is initiated with the 0, and every time I'm adding that I value. Okay, I value. So first of sum, first 10 natural numbers is 55. Yes, 55 is the answer. Now you can again do the loop inside the loop, that is called the nested loop. Okay, you can write the loop inside the loop. Okay, so nesting of the loop can be do by using the technique, like for example, yeah, print I into j. Every time I multiply with the j, and here end, it should be end is equal to space. So firstly, 1 into 1 1, 1 into 2 2, 1 into 3 3, like that, and 2 into 1, 2 into 2, 2 into 3, then 3 into 1, 3 into 2, 3 into 3, like that. Okay, so you can use the nesting of loop by using the for loop, by using the while loop. Okay, any combination you can do, just like depending on your program again. Okay, what you need, you are writing that program in that manner. So this is the decision control structure. So if you have any doubt in decision control structure, you just ask me. I'm waiting for 2 minutes. Then after that, we'll start with the new topic, that is list. So any topic that you have not understood, for loop, while loop, range function. Yes, I'm waiting for 2 minutes, and then after we'll start with the new topic.
So I have to provide my infinite node here. So what this will do,
Yes, got it. Yes, okay, so you have to practice this thing. Actually these things actually we seen that We think that this is a very simple things, but when some problem statement is assigned to us now, so actually we forget that what is the syntax. That's why if you are keep repeating the same things again and again and again and again, then you will actually remember the syntax of all these things. So how to write for loop, how to write while loop, how to write range function is like this. So the next one we'll start with the next is the container data type, and that is the list data type. So it is a container data type. So container data type represent that it contains the data item. It contains some data items. We can store some multiple data type items inside it. That's called the container. So container is an entity which contains multiple data items. It is also called the collections. So Python is having these container data types: list, tuples, set, and the dictionary. We'll see one by one. First, we will see list. So what is list? List, you can compare this list with the array in C++. So what is array? Array is a collection of the similar data items. Okay, but actually list is also the collection of data item, but it is not the same. The list can have the dissimilar or the heterogeneous data items. Okay, so you can define a list in which you can have the integer as well as you can have the float, you can have the string, you can have the different data types items that you can include. Okay, so list is called as a dynamic array. Why dynamic array? Because we can change the size of the list once it is declared. Suppose if when you declare the list, the size is 4 only, but you can increase the size, you can add some items, you can delete some items. So that's called the dynamic array. It is an ordered collection. Yeah, it is an ordered collection. Why? Because the numbers or the data item that is stored inside that list is stored one after the another. In a memory, actually it is stored one after the another. After first number gets stored, then second one, then third, then fourth. Okay, so it is ordered collection. That's why it can be indexed. It can be accessed by using its indexing, and it can be sliced. It can be sliced. It means that we can take some sub list from the given list. So it can be indexed, it can be sliced. So lists are commonly used for handling the variable length data. Yes, majorly suppose we don't know how much data we have to store inside our variable. If you don't know what the size of that data, size means how much length of that data that we don't know, then the list is very useful one. So create an empty list, add the first item, then add the second item, add the third item, like that. So you can add the number of items into the list. So your list can be, the list size can be vary as per your requirement. So though the list can contain dissimilar types, yes, the list can contain the dissimilar or the heterogeneous data item, but usually they are the collection of similar types. There is no meaning of having the dissimilar data item, but we can still store some dissimilar data items in a list. For example, if you want to create the list of animals, so actually the list of animals, it is, you can see here the example is given as animals is equal to, now the name of animals we are always storing inside this animal list. So what is the types of this data, always str. Marks, if you want to store the size, the type of the data items are always integer. So num is equal to 10 into 5. 10 into 5 means the 10 get repeated 5 times. So num is the list which contains the 5 tens. LST is equal to brackets only. So that's square bracket. The square bracket actually represent the list. So to identify that, suppose if you have some data items, and all the data items are actually enclosed in a square bracket, then you can say that this is my list. If it is enclosed in a circular bracket, then you can say that this is the tuple. And if it is enclosed in a
curly bracket, then it might be set or it might be dictionary. Okay, for your it might be set or dictionary. Okay, we'll see afterwards what is the difference between set and dictionary. But you have to remember here, square bracket represent list. Like a string and array, list item can be accessed using indices. Okay, so yes, we can use the index to access the its data items. Index always start with the 0. Yes, we know that. So here one list is given, marks is equal to some items are given, and if I want to access 69, so 69 can be accessed by using the marks of 0, because 69 is the first item, and first item is having the index at 0. The marks of -2, yes, can anybody tell me if I'm using negative indexing? If I'm using negative indexing, then what is the answer? If I'm using the negative indexing, what is the answer? Yes, the answer is -2 means -1 means 67, -2 means 54. Yes, correct, correct. Nita, Suraj, Neha. Yes, it is correct. So the answer is the 54. Yes, so the same rule is applicable to here that we have studied in the string. So entire list can be printed by just using the name of the list. Yes, you can print the whole list by using the only name of that list. So LST is this, contains the 4 string. My name is John, and if you print it, you will output is the square bracket means it is a list, and comma is there. Comma means there are the 4 data items. My name is John. Okay, some basic list operation we will see first. Unlike the string list, unlike the string, list are mutable, or we can change it. Okay, so we will see with the example. As we have seen earlier, actually the string are the immutable. Okay, immutable, the string are the immutable. We have seen that S1 is equal to hello, S2 is equal to good morning. Okay, and we have printed the address of the S1, firstly address of S2, both we will get it as a different one. So here also what I'm doing, LST is equal to this I'm doing, and I'm printing the address of LST. Then I'm modifying the content of the LST. That is third item I'm inserting as a Mary. So instead of John, now it is inserted as Mary. So John is replaced by Mary. Okay, so I'm modifying it. So I am changing it. So after changing it, I'm printing the address. So if both addresses are same, then I can say that list are mutable. We can see here. Here you can see here the both addresses are same, but it is not in the case of string. You can see here. Firstly, name is Ganesh, and second one is name is Sandeep. And if I'm printing the address of both string, then both are different. Both are different. Getting this? So we can say that here the strings are mutable, the strings are immutable, and the list are mutable. Strings are immutable and the strings are mutable. Okay, so next one is here one list is given 10, 20, 30, 40. So how many items? Only 1, 2, 3, 4 items are there. So what are the indexes? 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3 is the items, and I want to add some new item. I want to add some new data items. So how to add new data items? If you want to add only single data items, you can use this technique, like num underscore list of, suppose fourth index I want to access. So equal to, for example, 50. So single data item, if you want to change, then I can use this. So after printing, if I'm printing this, your num list contains the 5 data items, 10, 20, 30, and the last one is 50. You can see here. Okay, only assignment can only assign iterable. Okay, so what is the problem? I don't know, but we'll stick to our problem. Okay, so suppose if you want to add the more items, then we can add it. Actually, yes, sorry.
It should be list. It should be list. Yes, it should be list. Colon भी नहीं दिया तो चलेगा. It should be list. Yes, colon should be there. Okay, there should be a syntax. Actually, you should follow the syntax. So what I'm doing, I am assigning the index starting from 4 to last. So whatever the elements are there, all the elements which is present here, that get inserted into the num underscore list. So one item, if you want to add only one item, then you should follow this syntax. And if you want to add the multiple items, then you can use this one. So like 4 to 8, I want to access 4 to 8. 8 is not inclusive. So 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are the only possible indexes, and that it get inserted here. So if I'm printing num list, then you are getting the output as 10 to 80 here. Getting this? So this is the adding the single item, single data items, and here it is adding multiple data items. So you should note down this syntax actually. Now what is my num list? Num list contains 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Now if I want to delete some numbers, if I want to delete some items, which item I want to delete? 2 to 5. 2 to 5, actually 5 is not inclusive, so 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. So 2 means 30, 40, and 50. 2, 3, and 4. So 30, 40, and 50, I want to delete it. So I want to empty this particular list. So after this execution, your list contains only 10, 20, and then 60, 70, and then 18 directly. You can see here the remaining 30, 40, and 50 I have assigned as an empty list. So here it is deleted. So in this way, actually, you can modify the list. Meanwhile, some items you can also delete. Now, new list can be created using existing list. Yes, some list is there already. List one is there, and you want to create a list 2 using the existing list. So you can do the concatenation, that is plus operator. So whatever the list 1 is concat with this second list, and the new list is get created, list 2. So what is my new list? List 2 contains the items of list 1 plus the 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so in this way we can create the new list also. So 2 lists can be merged to create a new list. Yes, we can merge the list also. So when I run this, the output is, so in this program, actually, instead of using the hardcore value after the plus, I'm using the list 2 again. So list 2 contains this list 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm adding this list 1 plus list 2, and the list 3 is the same, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now we can search the element which is present in list 1 or not. Okay, so if you want to check that, a 5 is present in that list 3 or not. So in operator, as we have seen earlier, in will give the return as a true or false. So if the 5 is present in list 3, it will return true. So is it present? Yes, it is present in true. It is present in list 3. So if I want to check that 15 is present in list 3 or not. Now list 3 is 1 to 8 only. I check that 15 is present. Yes. If I'm running this, it will return the false. Okay, so very easy. You can search any items from the list, given list. Now next one is how to do a sorting. So sorting means actually ascending sorting and the descending sorting. How to do the ascending sorting and descending sorting. So list sorting can be do by using the sorted function. So here one list is defined which is not sorted, 45, 87, not sorted list. And if I want to use the sorted function, so use sorted of particular list. Actually, when you use the sorted function, the list is not changed. Whatever the list is there, the list is not changed, but the output of the sorted function is the sorted list. the list is unchanged. Mildly underscore list is unchanged, and you will get the sorted list. So which type of sorting? The type of sorting is the ascending type of the list. If you want the descending sorting, then you can use this technique. Reverse is equal to true. When I use reverse is equal to true, then you are getting the descending sorting. Getting this? Yes, have you note down this? How to do sorting? Very, very important regarding to your data processing. So if you have the data and if you want to sort that data, use the sorted function. Now deletion. Can I delete one of the item? One of the item only I want to delete. Like 23, I want to delete. So 23 I can delete by using its index. So use the delete function, del. Del and the my list of 2. Del my list of 2. When I do this, your my list now it is not having the 23 inside. It is not having 23. Okay. So delete my list of 2. Just specify the index here. That particular index item get deleted. Now you can delete the sublist also. Delete sublist like 2 to 4. Now my list contains this one. My list is this. Now 2 to 4 means 2 and 3. 2 and 3 index is only deleted. So 5 and 90 I want to delete. So 2 items I want to delete at the same time. So can I delete it? Yes, you can delete by using this technique. So it contains only 45, 87 and the 4. 5 and 90 get deleted. Okay, so can I delete the entire list? Entire items I can delete by using, just do not specify the start and end. Use only the colon. Use only colon here. My list of all. So it means that all items delete. So my list contains 45, 87 and 4. And if I run this program, now my list contains empty. My list is empty. My list is empty. Getting this? So here you have deleted only the data items. You are not deleted the list. You have deleted only data items. You are not deleted the list. Deleting the list is different. Deleting the list means free the memory. And deleting the data items means delete the particular data item from that list. Remove the data item from that particular list. Okay. So can I delete my list? Delete the object of my list? Yes, you can delete by using delete my underscore list. Delete my underscore list. So delete my underscore list will delete the list, and when you access this particular variable after deleting, it will give error. It will give error. That is, my underscore list is already deleted, so it is not defined now because it is already deleted. Now your compiler don't know what is my underscore list. Okay. So if you want to delete the total object, then use delete and that particular name of the list. But if you want to delete only the data item, use this. So delete operation is very, very riskier one. That's why before using this delete operation, always think twice. That is what I am deleting. I'm deleting items or I'm deleting a list. Okay, conversion into list. Okay, so here one string is given and I want to convert this string into list. So can I convert? Yes, using its constructor. So list of name, just provide the name. Name is the string. So it is converted into the list. You can see a square bracket. Okay. So any string is there, you can convert the string into list. You can get the length of string. Like now name underscore list contains how many character, I don't know. Okay, so I want to get the length of that particular string. So this name underscore list is having a 9 character, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Yes, 9 character. It is having the length. So alien is the function. Alien, using the alien function, I can count the characters or the data items present in that list. Now get the maximum. Yes, max is the function. Yes, we already seen this actually. Max is the function, built-in function, which is return the maximum item present in that list. So here, this is my list, contains only the numeric value. If I run this, it will give output as 3 4 5, because 3 4 5 is the max value. But max function will fail when one of the data items is the character.
Okay, if one of the data item is a character one or the string, then it fails. Okay, always remember this. So to use the max function, your all the data items of the list should have the numeric values. Now get the minimum. If you want the minimum value, minimum is 5. Use the min function, max function, min function will give the maximum and the minimum value. Sum, if you want the summation of all the elements, use sum function. Sum, very easy. Okay, actually very easy. And just think the same program in a C language. Okay, if you want to do a summation of the array, all the array elements, then actually what is the for loop you have to do for I equal to 0 while less than, and then some variable, some extra task you have to do. But here the ready-made function is there, sum function. Just provide the list and you will get the summation. Now we can check if the list is empty or not using the not operator. So here there is an empty list. LST, how to create an empty list? Just provide the name equal to and the empty bracket. So if not of LST, then empty list. Okay, if not of LST, it means that if LST is not having any data items, if LST is not having data item, print this statement, empty list, we can't proceed. Okay, but suppose if your list is having some data item, suppose 56, then it is not printing any, because else is not executed, else is not written, so else is not executed. Getting this? So always check that if the user has given some data items or not. If the list is not, if the list is empty, we can't proceed. This message has to be print. So that's why you have to use this one, if not of LST. Okay. Now the next topic is the how to copy one list to another list. There are two techniques. First technique is known as shallow copy. Second one is a deep copy. So shallow copy means, suppose if list one is there, so it means that there is a memory block which contains 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and list one is referring to that memory block. And when you do list 2 is equal to list 1, actually what happened? It doesn't create the another object. It doesn't create the new object. What happened here? Now the list 1 is pointing to that block. Now list 2 is also start pointing to that particular block. Okay, so it means that that block which having the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 is now referring by the two references, list 1 and list 2. Okay, so list 1 is also referring to same block, list 2 is also referring the same block. But suppose if I'm changing with the list 2, the same effect you can get it on a list 1, because you are changing the same memory. How we can use this, and we can prove this also. Now list 2 is equal to list 1. The list 1 and list 2 both are same. To prove this, that both are pointing to the same block, we are printing the addresses. Yes, you can see here, ID of list 1 is same as that of the ID of list 2. Getting this? So this is not a deep copy. Deep copy means creating the another copy of your data. That is called as a deep copy. Shallow copy means creating only references. That is called as shallow copy. So let us modify the one of the element of list 1. Now list 1 of 0. So there are two references, list 1 and list 2. I am modifying the first number, that is this 10. Okay, 10. The 10 I am modifying to 100. 10 I am modifying to 100 because 0th index I am accessing. So list 1 of 0 equal to 100 if I'm doing, and if I'm printing the list 1 and list 2. So what it prints? Yes, it prints both as a first element as 100. Why? Because both are pointing to the same memory. If the list 1, using the list 1, if you are modifying that list, same effect will be appear on list 2, because you are not doing a deep copy, you are doing a shallow copy. Getting this? Both two pointers are pointing to the same memory, like that. Okay, so it means that if the list 1 and list 2 both are referring to the same memory or list, but in some cases, suppose if you want to create the actual copy, why we need to create the actual copy? Because we want to change it, and we again require the original copy also. We want the copy of that original one. So then we have to use the deep copy. So how to use deep copy? Copies contents of one list into another both refers to the different list. Okay, if I'm changing the list 1, list 2 will not be changed, or if I'm changing the list 2, list 1 should not be, list 1 should be the unchanged. This type if I need, then I'm using the deep copy. So how to do a deep copy? Like this. List 1 I am referring here. Now list 2 is the empty list. So here the new block is created with an empty block. Okay, so here the idea of list 2 is different. Now what you are doing? You are doing list 1 plus list 2. So whatever the list 1, I am adding with the list 2. So list 2 is nothing. So list 1 plus, now here the only the items get considered. Here the memory block is not considered. So whatever the items of list 1 and whatever the item of list 2 get added, and one new list get created, and that new list is now referred by the list 2. You can see here, if I'm printing the list 1 and list 2, both are same, but if I'm printing the address of list 1 and list 2, both are different. You can see here, it is 2048, it is 6128. Getting this? So both are different. So if you want to create the actual copy, if you want to create the another copy, then you should go for this technique, deep copy. Okay, so let us modify one of the element like list 1 of 0. So if I'm modifying the so it is a deep copy, both addresses are different. So if I'm modifying the list 1, that is this memory block, then it will not affect the this one, it will not affect this one. So when I'm doing list 1 of 0 equal to 100, only the list 1 get modified, list 2 is not modified. So you can see with this output, so only the list 1 get modified and list 2 is as it is, the previous data. Getting this? So this is called as a deep copy. Now deletion of the list, we will see how to delete the list. So list 1 is this, list 2, list 3, list 1, 3 lists are pointing to the same. Now list 1 is referring to the new memory block. Now the old memory block which contains 10, 20, 30, 40 only referring by the list 2 and list 3. Okay, so if I'm printing list 2 and list 3, I'm getting the output 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Now if I am empty that list, if I'm renting the list, now if I'm empty the list by using the list 2, the list which is pointed by the list 3, that also affected. Okay, very first one is you are getting the output 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and at the last you are getting the output as empty. You are getting the output as empty list. Okay, so you are getting the output as empty list. So like that, there is a is function, is operator is also there. This is generally check whether two list variables are referring to the same memory or not. Suppose you are doing a programming, and while doing a programming there are two variables are there, and you know that both contains the same data, but you don't know that both are pointing to the same memory or not. So to check that, there is a is function is there. Now is function, it return true if both are pointing to the same memory block. Is function is return true if both are pointing to the same memory block. If both variables are pointing to the different memory block, then it returns false. Simple. There is an example. Now list 1, list 2, list 3, both are 3 pointers are pointing to the same memory block, but list 4 is different. So list 1 is list 2, yeah, both are pointing to same memory block, so it print true. List 1, list 3, list 1 is list 3, yes, list 1 is list 3, so it is both are pointing to the same memory block, so it returns true. List 4 is list 1, no, list 4 is different than list 1, so it print false. List 1 is not list 4, yeah, is not is there. Okay, not will actually returns the true if both are pointing to the different memory block. Okay, so it is not of list 4. List 1 is not list 4, so it returns true. So list 1 and list 4 is not the same, that is the meaning. Getting this? So if I'm running this, the output is true, true, false, true, 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 false, true. So you can compare the two lists also. You can compare the two lists by item actually comparison will be done. Compare item by item comparison. So 1, 2, suppose it is 5, 4. Both lists are same. If both lists are same, then now this condition is false. Now A equal to B. If all the blocks, all the actually items by item comparison is succeed, then A equal to B. This condition will be true and your output as a is equal to B. But for example, if you are doing one of the item is 8, for example, 1 compare with 1, yeah, true. 2 compare with 2, true. But 5 compare with 8. Okay, so here the A is less than B. A is less than B. First item this less than B, so that's why it will print A is less than B. A is less than B. Getting this? But here if I'm doing 15, then B is less than A. B is less than A. So it will do item by item comparison. Item by item comparison. Some list methods are there. Append method actually append the new item at the end. So here list is there, and if you want to add one more item at the last, so after 4, if you want to add new item, then is the function is the called as the append function. Append 22. So at the last, the 22 will be appended. Okay, 22 will be appended. Remove function is there. Remove function. Remove function will remove a particular item. Remove function will remove the particular data item. So like if your list one is having this data item, now if I want to remove the 23 directly, I want to remove 23. So can I remove it directly? Use remove function, remove 23. And now your list one is now after 54, it is directly 76. So 23 get removed. Now there is a pop function is there, pop function. It remove the last element. Which is the last element added? 22. So 22 get removed and you will get the list one as there. 22 get removed here and you will get the list without 22. Getting this pop function? So it is very similar like your stack in stack operation actually. Pop is remove from the last, remove the last items. But you can use the pop function to remove the particular data item also. Like for example, if I'm giving the index to the pop function, then it remove the data item from that particular index. So pop2 will remove the 76. Pop2 will remove 76. So 76 will be removed and now your list one contains only data 34, 54, 45 and 4. 76 is not there. Okay, pop 100 if I'm doing 100 is the actually 100 is the index which is not available into this list. So if we are doing pop 100, so if the 100 element is not present in the list, then it reports value error. It reports the not value error, it reports the index error. There is typing mistake actually. It reports the index error. Getting this? So pop should be receiving a index which is a valid indexes only. So you can use the pop and remove function. Actually remove function will remove only and pop function will remove last as well as the remove the particular element also. Now insert function is the again we can do. It is very similar like your append function, but append will append at the last. But insert function will append at a particular position. Like list one dot insert 3, 50. 3, 50 will insert the 50 at the third position. Insert the 50 at the third position. Third position means first one is the 34, 54, 23, and at the third position means at the third index 0, 1, 2 and 3. Third index. At the third index 50 get added here and 76 is now at the next index. So in between the 23 and 76, 50 get added. So you are seeing that you are inserting the new item inside the list. To print the reverse of that particular list or to reverse the item of the list, you can use the reverse function. Actually it changes the list itself. List one dot reverse, it will reverse the list. So that is 4 first time. Before this the 4 is at the last, now 4 is at the front, 34 is at the front, 34 is at the last after reverse function. So this is all are the in place function. In place function means it is actually affected the particular list. It is actually affect the particular list. Now there is a function called as sort function. We have seen the sorted function. Sorted function will sort the list, but it will not affect the list. The list is unaffected, but the sort function will affect the list also. Sort function will affect the list also. So how it works? You can see here, before sorting, this is the my list. Now after sorting, I'm printing directly list one. Okay. So it is a sorted list. Sorted list. Again, ascending, ascending sorting and descending sorting. This is the ascending sorting. To descending sorting, just use the reverse is equal to true. When you are doing reverse is equal to true as an argument, then you are sorted that particular list by using a descending sorting. Getting this? Okay, so this is a descending sorting. Reverse is equal to true. Again, a count function is there. Actually, there are lots of functions are there. We'll see one by one. Count function. Count function will count how many 45s are present in that particular list. 45. Again, very important if you want to count the repeated data. Okay, so how many 45? So 3 times this 45 get appear, so we will get 3 count of 45. Then list one dot index 65, it returns the index of 65. 65 is present at which index? Second index. So it will return the 2. 65 is at index 2. So again, index 100. If you are doing index 100, 100 is not present. If the 100 is not present, then it report the value error. Not value error, it reports the index error actually. Value error. It returns the value error as the 100 is not present. As the 100 is not present. So extra notes regarding the list. Like list may be embedded in another list. Like suppose X is this, and now X is a part of Y. X is a part of Y. So what is my Y? You can see here. Y is first item is 10, second item is 20, third item is 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fourth item is 40. So can you tell me if I want to access, two element 2, if I want to access 2 elements, so what is the statement I want to write here? Yes, I want to access this 2. I want to access 2. If I'm directly using the Y of 2, then what is printed? The Y of 2, then the Y of 2 is the list itself. Y of 2 is the list itself. If I'm using Y of 2, the whole list get printed. But if I want to print the 2 only, then 2 is present at the second index of the Y2. That is the in this list 2 is present. So I'm accessing this list, and in that list, what is the index of 2? Index of 2 is 1. Index of 2 is 1. So here, if I'm using 2 of 1, then it is very similar like your multi-dimensional array. Okay, it is similar like your multi-dimensional array. Getting this? Now it is possible to unpack a string or list within a list using the star operator. Okay, unpacking a list. How to unpack? S is equal to hello. So star S, if you are doing here, whatever the characters present in that particular string or list, then it is unpacked here. S might be string, S might be character string. So S is equal to hello. So your list one contains the characters of hello. The same thing we can do using this. So here 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm using only X, the X as it is get added. X here, you can see here, X is as it is added. So it means that the second index, there is a list itself. But instead of that, if I'm using star X, then what happened? Here the X is get unpacked, X is get unpacked, and that unpacked item get added into that particular location. So after this, if I'm doing executing this, so Y is different. Y is having now the total 7 items. Y is having 7 items. When I do the X only, the Y is having only 4 items. And if I do this, the Y is having the 4 plus 3, that is 7 items. 1, 2, 3, 4. So how to access 2 here? How to access 2? You can access the 2 by using the Y of and that index directly. The index is I think 3. Y of 3 is 2 directly. Okay, so are you getting that? Are you getting this difference? Y of 3 and Y of 2, 1. If your list contains list itself, then you have to use the multi-dimensional manner. And if your list is not having the list inside it, then you can directly use it. Yes, how to extract the string from list? How to extract the string from list without single or double quote. For example, L is equal to hello. Okay, so we can do here one program. Suppose list 1 is equal to suppose as you said hello, and the second one is the world. Okay, now I want hello. I want to print hello. Simple. Just use this print statement. You are getting hello. Are you getting Alka, ma'am? So it is just one data items, and the index of the data item is 0. So list of 0 like that. Okay, so this is list. So I'm again waiting for 2 minutes. Any doubt in the list? Tell me. Yes, any doubt or any topic or any function if you understood, or if you make any confusion, any statement or any function. So we will move towards the next one, and that is the tuple. Tuple. Okay, tuple. Okay, so tuple is topic is somewhat small, because tuple and the list you can compare with the same thing. Only the one difference between the tuple and the list is that the tuple is, you can say, it is a constant list. It is a constant list. Once you declare the tuple, it is, you cannot modify it. You cannot modify. So tuple is a immutable. As your list, we have seen that list items we can add, we can delete the item, we can modify the item, but the tuple item are the constant items. So once you declare the items in a tuple, it is fixed. You cannot change. So you can say it is a constant tuple. So tuple are typically used for handling the heterogeneous data. So generally tuples are same as the list, but the tuple is a mutable. List is mutable, means we can change or modify the item, but the tuple is immutable. So no one can, or one can call the tuple as a constant list. Yes. So how to create a empty tuple? The here the example. To create the empty tuple, you can use a is equal to and that brackets, and always use the circular bracket for creating the tuple. If I'm using the square bracket, then become a list. Okay, square bracket represent list, circular bracket represent tuple. Okay, so if you want to create a tuple with a single item, only one item, then you should give the comma after that data items. Why? I'm giving you the solution that why we should put the comma here. Okay, so just give the here, this is the way to create the tuple, empty tuple, a tuple with a 1 and data items, and tuple with a multiple data items. I can also put here C is equal to, and suppose 23, 45 and 60 and like that. Okay, so these are the tuple with the multiple data items. These are the examples. So here, if the comma is not given, then what happened here? Suppose while creating the tuple of having only one data items, you forgot to put the comma. Then you can see here what is the type of C. The type of C is only integer. To make it as a tuple, you just have to put the comma in front of it, then it become a tuple. Okay, so that's why if your tuple is only having only one data items, you should put the comma in front of it. Okay, it is only applicable if your tuple is only having one data items. Now tuple with the multiple data items, yes, D is equal to this. It is a dissimilar data items, like first one is string, second one is integer, and third one is the float value. Now while initializing a tuple, we can drop the bracket also. Here we have created the tuple with the circular bracket. Okay, but not compulsory. While creating the, if you want to create a tuple with a multiple data items, then not compulsory here. Giving the bracket is not compulsory. That circular bracket is not compulsory. So without also, if you are giving, then it, by default it is tuple. So to create a tuple, we can use the built-in function as a tuple also. Like if you have the string, and using the string, if you want to create a tuple, so use tuple of that particular string. So it created the tuple. Okay. Then next one is you can create the tuple using the list also. So this is my list, and using this list, you want to create a tuple, you can create it. You can create, this is called as a comprehension. You can create the tuple using the comprehension also. Like here, for loop is given for x in range 5. Okay, for every value of x of the range 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, every value of x is considered as a x square. So it create a tuple of 0 square, then 1 square, then 2 square, then 3 square, and then 4 square, like that. This is the comprehension part, and is a separate topic of Python. Now tuple range 5, it will create the tuple of the value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have already seen the range function. Now to access tuple, we can access the tuple by using its index. Yes, like list item also we can access using index, because tuple is also the ordered list. So we can access this as a using the index. We can slice the tuple also, like string and list. Tuple can be sliced, but it yields to the new tuple. So here message 1:3. 1:3 means 1 and 2. So is high I want to extract. So I'm doing 1:3. So is high get extracted here. So tuple can also be sliced. Yes, comprehension part I can do, but actually it is only matter of the time, because I have all the material with me, and you can actually I have already shared you that link, this GitHub link. You can download this comprehension. So there is actually one file is there, comprehension. I have not uploaded actually. Okay, so I will upload the comprehension in the GitHub also. So you can follow that comprehension part to learn what is comprehension. So entire tuple can be printed by you just using the name of tuple. Yes, we already seen this. List, you like list, actually tuple is having that all the operations. Yes, you can iterate over the tuple also, just like the list. Tuple operation, yes, the tuples are immutable. This is very important one. So if it is list, then I can do this. If it is list, then I can do this. But if it is tuple,
But if it is tuple, then it gives error. If it gives error when I run this, it gives tuple object doesn't support the item assignment. It gives error. So tuples are immutable like string. So this is also error 1:3. You cannot modify the, or you cannot add the new items into the tuple also. The size is fixed, data items are fixed. The tuple can contain the tuples can contain mutable objects like list. Okay, so tuple can have the mutable objects. Okay, so 1 2 3 4, and here the Titanic is the immutable. Okay, so it can have the mutable object. So items in a tuple can be repeated. That is tuple may contain the duplicate data items. Okay, so it is very important if you want to learn the set. Actually, set set only contains the unique data items. But here the tuple can have the data item having the same value. That is 30 30 30. This 30 is repeated 3 times. So tuple can have the multiple or duplicate data items. Now tuple equal to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and their in and not in function. 100 in tuple, 100 is not present, so it will return false. So 22 not in tuple, 22 is not present in tuple. Okay, but you are using not in, so it returns true. And alien function, it returns the length of how many items present in your tuple. So it returns 6. So false, 2 and 6. So T is equal to tuple Africa, it convert the string into tuples. Yes. And there are some functions that we have already seen. We have seen for the list, that is max, it will return max of max element. Min, it return min element. Sorted, actually it sort the tuple, but what happened? It sort the tuple, but the output you are getting as a list. You are not getting the output as a tuple. Okay, you can see here. Sorted function will always give the output in terms of list. So here this is the sorted function, sorted tuple, but in terms of the list. Sum of T, it will return the sum of the all the items. Index function will return the index. Actually, some or most of the functions are similar for list and tuple. Count, how many 32s are there, it will return count. Okay. Concatenation, yeah, it will do the same thing. So I'm not repeating the same thing that is available for the list. Okay, so this is also, yes, a reverse. It is possible to reverse the tuple, but how we can reverse the tuple? We can reverse the tuple. Suppose T1 is created, T1 contains Mumbai, and if you want to reverse the tuple, actually the T1 cannot be modified. T1 cannot be modified. So what we can create? We can create the new tuple. So we are allocating the new memory, and we are using the reverse function. So reverse of T1, using these data items, I'm creating the new tuple, and now that new tuple is get identified or they refer by the T1. Okay. Okay, now this is again very important one. If you want to reverse the tuple, then you can reverse by using the slicing operator. Just put the last as a -1. Just put last as a -1, and it will get reverse. Okay, so these all things we have done. Okay. So quickly again we will see the next one as a dictionary, because this is important. Dictionary is again very important. So what is dictionary? Dictionary, you can compare this dictionary with the list and the tuple that we have seen. The list is the mutable container. The tuple is the immutable container, and both are the ordered list. So we can access its element by using its index. But the dictionary is also the container having you can store the different data items. But here there is no indexing. So index can be accessed by using, or we can access its index by using its keys. So every data is associated with its key, and that key should be unique. The keys are the unique. So you can create the
list, you can create the dictionary by using this. The curly bracket is used to create the dictionary, curly bracket. So A is equal to curly bracket, it create the empty dictionary. Okay. Now you can create, if you want to store some data, that what is the data? Data is Anil. It is called the values. Okay. Anil is the value, Bhushan is the value, and the Ravi is also value. But this every data is associated with its unique key. So A1 is the key of the Anil, A2 is the key of the Bhushan, and the A3 is the key of the Ravi. Okay. And here suppose you can create the dictionary by using the from keys function also, if the list is given and this list is now created as a keys, so from keys you can see these three format. First one is the empty dictionary, second one is the dictionary having the three values A1, A2, A3 keys, and Anil, Bhushan, Ravi, these are the values. And third one is the from keys function. Marks 1 is the key, marks 2 is the key, and marks 3 is the key, but the data is 50. Data is 50, 50, 50. Okay, so data can be repeat, but the keys cannot be repeat. The keys is unique. So note here that the key values in a dictionary are unique, but the different keys may have the same value paired with them. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the keys. But these 4 and 5 keys having the same data. So data can be same, but the keys has to be different one. So if I'm try to change the key value here, for example, 2. What happened here? 2, 2. Okay, there are two keys value. 2, 2. Same key is present, but it should be unique. So what happened? The very first data is get neglected here. Okay, first data is neglected. So you can say that here the new data is get overwritten by the old data. And when you access your dictionary, you are having the new data only. The previous data is not included because its key is unique. Its key is not unique. Its key is repeated. So new data is the part of your dictionary. So I'm using this one method. So it is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all keys. Okay, so data might be repeat, but keys cannot be repeat. So dictionary element can be accessed using key as an index. Yes, if you want to access the dictionary, then you can access by using this method. My result of English. What is my result of English? English 89. So it is 89 get. So in a list or tuple, we generally put its index. But here there is no index. So index, instead of index, we are putting the key value here. We are putting key value. So key is English. So 89 is my result. So we can iterate over the dictionary also. So for sub marks in my result underscore items, my result underscore items, if you are doing, so all the items, that is sub, that is your subject, and marks, your marks, because sub is assigned to the keys and the marks is assigned as these values. Getting this? So we can iterate over the items of the dictionary also using the for loop. Okay, we can iterate over the values also. Suppose if I want only the values, so I can iterate using over the values. So just you have to put my underscore result, that is your dictionary dot values. You are only getting the values. If you want only the keys, then you can modify this as a keys only, keys. Okay, so it will print only keys. Getting this? So values and keys. Okay. So you can add the new data also. For example, my result is having only these 4 subjects: Marathi, English, Social Science, and Mathematics. And if you want to add the new data, you can add it by using this. My result of computer equal to 90. So now my new dictionary, the new dictionary is having the 5th data is added as a computer 90. Okay, computer 90. You can see here computer 90. So modify the content. You can modify the content also. So mathematics, first it is 80. You can modify by using its key. So now my mathematics marks becomes 100. You can edit the key. So you can delete the key value pair also. Suppose this English marks I want to delete. You can delete by using delete my result of the English. So using the key, I can delete my value also. So we can delete the whole dictionary object also.
Okay, and the remaining function is same, max, mean, sum. So same, and in operator, not in operator, is operator is also there. Sorted function also can apply. If you want to clear all the entries of your dictionary, then you can use clear function. My_result.clear will clear all the entries. So when I run this, your list is empty. Your list is now empty. Okay. Now you can update the list with the second list also. You can update the dictionary with the second dictionary also. So if this is a my_result is the first dictionary, and you want to update the first one using the second dictionary. So you want to add the content of the D to my result. So you can add by using update function. Now my_result is having the whole data. Now nested dictionary can also be actually you can do. So here Anil is having one dictionary, Sunil is having a dictionary, John is also having a dictionary. Okay. So what is the length of classroom? The length of classroom is only 3. Length of classroom is 3. And if I want to access the marks of Sunil, I can use this one method. Classroom of Sunil of marks. Classroom of Sunil of marks. Then I can access this marks 80.45. Okay. Similar like that we have access. Yeah, that we access in a list.tuple. Okay. So this is the thing that from my side. So actually there are lots of things that I can share with you, but due to the time limitation, I cannot share. So that's why I have given this link to you. You can go to visit github.com/ArduinoGanesh/Python, and you can download this IPYNB file. You can upload that IPYNB file to Google Colabs, and you can learn that things like functional programming. Also there are functions is there, exception is there, decision control structure. Actually I missed the set, so set is also there. Okay, so comprehension I am going to upload. Comprehension is also there. So you can download this file and you can explore by yourself again. Okay, and meanwhile actually until the sir has shared the attendance link, you can go to this link. You can go to, I'm pasting this link in chat box. You can go to this link and you can give the feedback of my session. Okay, when you click on this link, you will forward it to this page, and you can write a review here. You can write a review. You can give 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, and you can also read my previous session reviews also. And again, I'm also the Udemy instructor. If you want to learn the Python basics, then actually you can also buy my course, which is on Udemy. The link is shared with in a chat box. So when you go to that particular link, you can see here my Udemy course is there, Python Programming Mastery. All the courses has been included, and you can purchase this course. Okay, so this from my side. We'll visit again tomorrow. There is one more session is there. So we will conduct the remaining part of this session plus the visualization part in the next session. Yes, thank you. Any doubts?
Participant, any question you can put in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and directly ask to the sir. I have enabled you to unmute yourself.
Now you can unmute yourself.
You can ask directly.
Yeah. Yes. I request you to go to that particular link
link.ganeshattade.com/review and just fill your genuine feedback there. And all programs are yes, one GitHub link. So I'm sharing that link. Actually, sir, तुम्ही share केलंय का त्यांना ती link GitHubची?
GitHubची
Huh?
येस व्हॉट्सअप टाकून दिलेलं सर व्हॉट्सअप आणि
Yes,
टेलिग्राम वरती.
Yes. So check your WhatsApp and the Telegram group for that link, GitHub link. My GitHub page is there, in which actually you will get all the IPYNB file. You can download and you can use for your teaching also. Yes, any question?
Okay. So,
Okay, so I think no
okay,
question.
I think no questions. Mostly you have cleared everything.
Yes.
So thank you, sir, for your such in-depth session on Python programming and hands-on on the same. So definitely participant will enjoying these sessions, right? So thank you, sir, and we will have tomorrow one session, right? So we'll meet again on tomorrow morning. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So thank you, participants, for patient listening of such kind of sessions. I hope you are enjoying these things. So we'll meet again tomorrow morning 10:30 for the again Python sessions, continuation with these sessions, right? So till time, take care. Okay. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Please fill the attendance and feedback form, which was सरणी पण जो दिलेला feedback form आहे तो पण fill करा.
Sir, one question, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Anil.
Sir, I have not filled the second session attendance, sir, because today is the first day. I have not seen the chat box. Tomorrow onwards, I will take care, sir.
Okay,
Please
okay.
say.
No issue, sir. Don't worry. We'll mark your attendance. No issue.
Okay, thank you very much.
Because actually the session link was obsolete after completing the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Rupali Mahajan. Yes, I'm leaving the meeting. In case
Yes,
of
sir.
any doubts, you can post your question on chat, your chat of your WhatsApp. Sir will forward me the questions. Yes, thank you.
हॅलो हॅलो एम आय ऑडिबल एम आय ऑडिबल एम आय ऑडिबल
येस सर.
सर संपलं ना आजच्या दिवसाचं.
हो हो हो.
मग लोक जॉईन करून थांबलीत. मी आता
नाही,
लेक्चर
नाही.
परत जॉईन झालो.
अटेंडन्स लिंक फिलअप करतायत ते, सो दॅट्स वाय.
लिंक पाठवाल का? लिंक पाठवाल जरा परत.
हा पाठवली. तुम्हाला नाही भेटली का?
नाही भेटली ना.
ओके ओके ओके, जस्ट आय पोस्ट इट. इट इज ओके सर.
येस येस येस.
ओके ओके. ते कसं काही पार्टिसिपंटला लिंक लेट भेटते ना, त्यामुळे मग ते ओपन ठेवलं होतं सेशन थोडा वेळ.
बरं 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 बरं. नाही माझं लेक्चर होतं. लेक्चर नंतर मी जॉईन झालो.
हा हा हा.
रेकॉर्डिंग दिसते परंतु आवाज कोणाचा येत नाही. मला काय कळलं ना काय झालं.
ओके ओके ओके, ठीक. ओके.
सेशन
आज फर्स्ट आणि उद्या संध्याकाळपर्यंत पायथॉन चालेल सर. पायथॉन मधले पुढचे सेशन चालतील, म्हणजे जसे व्हिज्युअलायझेशन असेल, डेटा व्हिज्युअलायझेशन, स्ट्रक्चर डेटा व्हिज्युअलायझेशन, अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड डेटा, ओके, देन ॲरे व्हिज्युअलायझेशन. मग थोडंसं प्लॅटफॉर्म हे झालं की मग परवा मॉर्निंग पासून आपलं ऍप्लिकेशन चालू होतील सर त्याचे डायरेक्ट.
बरं बरं
हा.
बरं. याच्यावर क्विज वगैरे पण घेणार आहे का तुम्ही?
येस सर, ते AICTEच्या नियमानुसार आपण एक शेवटी एक स्मॉल टेस्ट घेतो.
शेवटी घेणार का? बरं.
हा शेवटी घेतो.
मी STDP ला काय केलं होतं माझ्याकडं.
हा हा.
सेशन नंतर ठेवली होती टेस्ट ती.
ओके.